All right, so buckle up for this one, this deep dive. It's going to take us into some seriously creepy territory. We're talking about stuff that's, well, pretty much nightmare fuel. The kind of stuff that makes you question everything you thought you knew about reality.
Yeah, the sources we've got for this one, let me tell you, they paint a picture that is way beyond the ordinary. It's chilling, to be honest. We're talking
Yeah,
cosmic horror, full blown.
cosmic horror. That's putting it mildly. But before we get too deep into the really terrifying stuff, maybe we should start with like the basics, right?
Right. Let's go back to the beginning. It all started with Sir Edmund Holloway,
Mm.
back in 1911 during a colonial survey. His notes, they're filled with these bizarre occurrences.
Okay, like what? Give us the spooky details.
For starters, he described these carvings on the stones, these megaliths that seemed to shift and change when no one was looking directly at them. And the local porters working with him, they were absolutely terrified of these stones. They call them memory drinking stones. I mean, how creepy is that?
Yeah, memory drinking stones. Yeah, that's definitely unsettling, but it gets worse, right?
Oh, much worse. There's the incident with Corporal Whitby, one of Holloway's men. He tried to carve his name into one of the stones, and, well, his knife fused to his hand, like completely fused. The blade went right through his fingernails. It's horrifying.
Ugh, that image. It's like something straight out of a body horror film. It makes you realize that we're dealing with forces that are, well, beyond our comprehension. And then there's Holloway himself, his final journal entry.
Oh, yeah, that journal entry. It's truly disturbing. He writes about these whispered nightmares, about hearing voices that seem to come from, like, some other dimension. And then his final act. He was found kneeling before the central stone, his own eyes surgically removed,
Yeah.
placed on the carvings.
It's just what could possibly drive a man to do something so horrific to himself? It's a question that haunts you.
Absolutely. And to understand this, maybe we should look at what the locals, the people who've lived with these stones for generations, have to say. The Tharu elders, they call these stones Utpathar, which translates to ghost rocks. They have these ancient warnings passed down through generations that paint a pretty terrifying picture.
Okay, so what do they say about these ghost rocks? What makes them so dangerous?
Well, they believe that each of these stones is like a prison for these defeated Dakini. These are like sky demons, powerful, malevolent entities.
So they're saying these stones are holding back something truly evil.
Yeah, exactly. And the carvings on the scones, they're not just decorations. The elders describe them as scars, scars left behind from the stones consuming their creators. Like they literally fed on the people who made them.
Wow. Okay, so these stones are not just haunted, they're like predators, I guess. That's messed up. But surely not everyone buys into this, right? People still go near them, I assume.
Oh, they do, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And the elders have a very specific warning for those who would dare touch the stones after nightfall. They believe that by doing so, you allow the demon trapped inside to, well, taste your soul through your fingertips. It's a primal fear, a warning against tampering with forces beyond our understanding.
And what happens if you like ignore those warnings? What if you touch them anyway?
Well, they say there's a progression of punishment. First, your reflection starts to change, like subtly at first, but it distorts your perception of yourself. Then your dreams become corrupted, filled with alien imagery. And finally, your flesh itself begins to obey new rules, whatever that means.
So it's like a gradual takeover. It starts with your mind, then your body. This is terrifying stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And it's not just ancient stories either. There's a more recent incident back in 2016 that really drives this point home. This German backpacker, Lucas Meinhardt, ignored all the local warnings and decided to take a selfie with the boot Pathar.
Oh, I've heard about this. This is the selfie where
Yeah, that selfie. It starts off normal enough, just a guy in front of some ancient stones. But then, in the subsequent frames, a second mouth appears on his neck. It's like splitting his neck open in a vertical gash. And then, his original mouth is sewn shut with black thread.
it's one of those things where you see it and you can't unsee it. It's so disturbing.
Right. And at first, he tried to play it off as a joke, said it was photoshopped. But then, villagers reported seeing his reflection in puddles. And that reflection showed the second mouth blinking independently. It was real.
And what happened to him?
His last Instagram post was cut off abruptly. He wrote, "The stones are singing lullabies. I can feel new teeth growing under my tongue. This isn't..." And then nothing. His account was deleted shortly after. We don't know what happened to him.
Okay, so we've got ancient warnings, creepy carvings, and a missing backpacker with a second mouth. This is already a lot to process. But then there's the 2023 investigation by that team from Tokyo University. They tried to tackle this, well, this supernatural phenomenon with science.
Yeah, they went in with all the latest tech, LiDAR scanners, DNA swabs, EMF readers, the whole works. And what they found was, in some ways, even more disturbing than the folklore.
Like, what did they find?
Their LiDAR scans show that the stones weren't just sitting there, they were actually pulsating with what they call dark energy every 13 minutes.
Pulsating, like they were alive.
It's as if they were.
Ah,
And then there's the DNA analysis. They found human genetic material in the grooves of the stones, a significant amount, like 37%.
so the stories about the stones consuming people, maybe there's some truth to that.
It's a terrifying possibility.
Yeah.
And their EMF readings went haywire whenever someone blinked near the stones.
Yeah.
It's like they were reacting to human presence. And then there's the lead researcher, Dr. Akihiro Sato. He didn't fare so well.
Yeah, I read about that. He had a breakdown, right?
A complete mental breakdown. His equipment started displaying this message in perfect Japanese, "Feed me your eyelids." And in his last voice memo, he describes the carvings not being on the stones, but inside them, moving. He said it was like they were all inside some kind of digestive system, and then this horrible wet crunching sound. That was the last anyone heard from him.
God, that's terrifying. And it's like, what are we even dealing with here? Stones that eat people, send messages, drive people mad. This sounds like something out of a Lovecraftian story.
Well, there might be an explanation, or at least a partial one, in this crumbling Sanskrit manuscript we found. It's called The Teeth of the Dream Eater.
Okay, the teeth of the Dream Eater, that sounds ominous. What does it say?
It suggests that these stones, they have a hunger, but not for flesh and blood. They hunger for human attention, for our focus. Every photo, every video, every thought we direct towards them strengthens their connection to our world.
So even thinking about them is dangerous.
Apparently so. It's as mental focus attracts them.
Oh, great. So we can't even think about them without risking something.
That's what it seems like. And it goes on to describe that second mouth thing that happened to Lucas Meinhardt as stage 1 of assimilation. There are stages to this, and the final stage, it says, is that the victim becomes a new stone.
So it's not just about being possessed or controlled. It's about being completely consumed and transformed into one of these things.
Yeah, it's a horrifying cycle of consumption and transformation. And then there's this survival guide we found. It's full of, well, bizarre rituals and precautions to ward off the stone's influence.
Okay, like what? How do you avoid becoming stone food?
Well, they recommend wearing mirrored sunglasses because the stones hate seeing themselves. And constantly chewing pain, apparently it disrupts their signal. Carrying rusty iron nails is also a good idea because iron interferes with their resonance.
This is getting weirder and weirder. So
Yeah.
mirrors, panion, and rusty nails. Got it. Anything else? What should we definitely not do?
Avoid taking any pictures of the stones, even mental ones. And never touch a carving that feels warm. It means something is active inside. And absolutely do not sleep within a kilometer of the stones. They apparently target people in their dreams.
So no pictures, no touching warm carvings, and no sleeping nearby. Anything else, or are we good?
There's one last thing. It's an emergency measure. If your reflection starts to change, you have to burn your hair mixed with salt. Apparently, it can break their hold on you, but they only say usually.
Usually. That's not very reassuring. It sounds like we're pretty screwed if these things decide they want us.
Well, there's been a disturbing new development. It's being called the terrifying trend. Since that 2023 investigation, things have escalated. The stone's influence seems to be growing stronger.
What kind of escalation are we talking about?
Well, 14% of the villagers are now showing signs of physical changes. They're growing extra teeth, just like Lucas Meinhardt described.
Oh no, this isn't good. It's spreading. What else has been happening?
The stones themselves are behaving even more strangely. They've started bleeding this black sap every full moon. It defies gravity, just drips upwards. And satellite imagery has revealed that the stones are moving, forming a pattern.
A pattern? Like what kind of pattern?
They're forming a pentagram. 80% of it is already complete.
A pentagram. That's not a good sign.
And the remaining 20% will align during the next solar eclipse. It's like they're building something, preparing for something big.
Okay, this is seriously bad news. Is there anything at all that might give us some hope here?
Well, there's one more thing. We recently acquired this VHS tape. It's from the 1990s, and it shows a local shaman performing a ritual with the stones. It looks like he's feeding the central stone something, and there's something moving inside the stone.
Something moving inside. What does it mean? What was he feeding it? What does this ritual do? It's like we're uncovering more questions than answers.
That seems to be the case with these black magic stones. Every piece of information we gather just deepens the mystery and adds to the horror. It's a truly unsettling experience, realizing just how little we understand about the forces at play here. We've only just begun to scratch the surface of this cosmic horror, and the implications, well, they're terrifying to consider.
And on that note, we're going to have to leave you to ponder those implications for yourselves. It seems like the deeper we go, the darker it gets. And who knows what other terrifying secrets are waiting to be uncovered.